Tom stood on the fractured ridge overlooking the ruins of the old frontier station. The breeze carried the bitter scent of scorched metal as the sky glowed with the faint residue of burned ion trails. Word had gone through every channel that the enemy fleet was coming. The colony had sent distress calls to every government known. No answer returned. Only silence drifted across the void. Tom was not surprised. The colony was small and lacked political value. No major power wanted to commit resources to defend it. Yet Tom felt the weight of every family living beneath those damaged roofs. Abandonment could not be allowed. He knew humans would stand alone if it came to that. The colony had survived worse in the early days. Humanity had learned to fight with everything it had. That truth remained unchanged. Mira jogged across the ridge toward him, with her pack bouncing against her shoulder. Her face was streaked with dust and determination as she stopped beside him. She brought updates from the scouts watching the outer routes. The enemy vessels had entered the system with formations tight and weapons charged. Their design indicated a species known for ruthless expansion. Tom had seen records of their tactics. They fired without warning and claimed territory through fear. Mira explained that attempts to contact them had failed. They did not negotiate. They consumed. Tom clenched his fists as Myra waited for him to speak. He knew fear pressed down on every mind in the colony. The enemy would not spare them. Their response had to be precise and decisive. There was no room for hesitation. Ben arrived moments later carrying a portable projector filled with tactical images. He activated it, and the holograms hovered above the cracked stone. Thick red lines traced the approach of the enemy fleet. Blue icons displayed human defenses, which amounted to a handful of ships and improvised artillery positions. Tom studied the projection with unmoving eyes. The numbers left no doubt. If the enemy reached orbit unchallenged, the colony would fall. Ben explained that civilian evacuation was impossible. The colony ships were grounded due to reactor shortages. Every resident remained trapped. Tom lowered the projector and told them both that humanity had fought hopeless battles before. Humanity excelled when cornered. They possessed a ferocity unmatched by any species recorded. He believed that ferocity would rise again. Raoul descended from his lookout post with a pulse rifle strapped across his back. He called out to the others with his usual calm cadence. Raoul was a veteran from the wars before human expansion slowed. His presence alone steadied those around him. He reported that sensor drones had detected faint energy spikes deeper in the system. They did not match enemy signatures. He suspected a second fleet was arriving, but could not identify it. The colony had not received new allies in decades. Myra asked if it could be a neutral observer group. Raoul shook his head. Neutral observers avoided conflict zones. The incoming signals carried the profile of heavy warships built for direct engagement. Ben raised a brow at the idea that another faction would insert itself now. Tom looked toward the horizon and sensed something other than fear rising within him. If the colony had not been abandoned entirely, then hope still clung to life. Night fell over the colony with sharp winds cutting through the settlement. Homes glowed with emergency lights. Families gathered close. The defenders stood atop worn battlements built generations earlier. Tom walked those lines with steady steps. He spoke with workers who had taken up arms for the first time in their lives. He reminded them that every advance in human history came from those who refused to kneel. He told them survival was forged through unity. Humanity fought with instinct, invention, and will. He saw their shoulders straighten as he passed. Fear still lingered, but courage grew beside it. Myra organized medical support, while Ben calibrated turret software. Raoul inspected weapon caches and calculated fallback positions. They prepared for the worst, but trusted in their capacity to endure. At dawn, the enemy fleet broke through the upper atmosphere with bursts of blazing light. Their black hulls reflected nothing as they streaked across the sky. Shockwaves rippled across the colony. Buildings trembled as families huddled in reinforced shelters. Tom signaled the defensive batteries. Artillery roared upward. Explosive arcs cut through the clouds. Enemy ships weaved with practiced precision. Their formation remained unshaken. Myra shouted coordinates to her comm, while Ben rerouted targeting data. Ral commanded the heavy guns with measured tone. The colony unleashed everything it had. Yet the enemy formation pressed downward like a dark blade poised to strike. It seemed unstoppable. Then the sky tore open with blinding radiance as if space itself shattered. From that rupture emerged a colossal vessel shaped like a silver spear. More warships followed behind it. Their engines flared with power beyond anything the colony had seen. These newcomers fired beams that sliced through enemy ships with surgical accuracy. Explosions erupted across the heavens. The enemy fleet scattered under the sudden assault. Tom stared upward with disbelief. Mira gasped. Ben whispered that no known ally possessed ships of such scale. Ral studied the signatures and shook his head. The new arrivals were not from any faction listed in their archives. The question lingered. Who had answered their call? The largest warship transmitted a message in universal common. The voice that emerged carried crisp control. The unknown commander identified the fleet as independent human forces from deep space regions that most governments had classified as uncharted. They revealed that humanity had advanced farther than the central colonies believed. These distant groups had watched the frontier for generations. They did not align with any official authority. They answered only to their own code. Their message stated that when outsiders threatened human lives, they responded without hesitation. They were not allies by treaty. They were kin by species. Their arrival carried a simple declaration. No human colony would fall while they still drew breath. The colony defenders erupted with renewed energy as the unknown human fleet carved through enemy lines. The battle intensified as enemy cruisers attempted to reorganize. Tom ordered ground forces to prepare counterstrikes. Mira coordinated with the newly arrived medics from the advanced ships. Ben integrated colony weapons with support fire from above. Ral joined a strike team moving toward an enemy landing craft that had broken through the bombardment. The ground shook as the vessel crashed into a distant plateau. Dust swept over the defenders as they advanced. Enemy soldiers poured out of the ruptured hull with metallic armor and razor gauntlets. Their movements carried lethal speed. Ral led the charge. Humanity met the invaders with unyielding defiance. Tom and Mira joined another squad rushing toward the crash site. They fired upon the enemy with disciplined bursts. Humans fought with adaptability, learned over centuries of struggle. They dodged slashing claws. They used terrain for cover. Their unity and instinct overwhelmed the disoriented attackers. More enemy ships fell from the sky under the destructive power of the advanced human fleet. Tom witnessed beams that bent through the air with guided precision. He realized the newcomers had technology far beyond standard frontier equipment. Their engines hummed with layered frequencies that suggested mastery over quantum propulsion. Every shot delivered devastating efficiency. Humanity had evolved among the stars in places the colony had never imagined. Ben supported the push by hacking into enemy communications. He disrupted targeting networks and mirrored signals back toward hostile drones. Mira treated wounded fighters while continuing to relay real-time updates. Ral coordinated flank maneuvers as Tom drove the formation deeper into enemy positions. Explosions lit the horizon. Smoke rose in thick columns. The colony held its ground. Humanity refused to yield. The lethal force of the newly arrived fleet had turned the tide. Enemy morale fractured. Their ships attempted escape, but were intercepted and disabled. One by one, the invaders fell under relentless fire. By midday, the battlefield quieted. Ash drifted from the sky like dark snowfall. Tom gathered with Myra, Ben, and Raul near the central bunker. They awaited contact from the unknown fleet. The comm device crackled as the commander spoke again. He congratulated the colony for its resilience. He explained that many frontier colonies had been presumed lost due to political neglect. The deep space human fleets observed these oversights with growing frustration. When they detected the distress call, they acted without waiting for approval. They believed humans must protect humans. They believed fear should never silence the brave. Tom felt those words resonate through every survivor listening. The advanced fleet descended toward the colony. Their sleek ships landed with elegant precision. Crews emerged wearing reinforced suits marked with insignias unfamiliar to the frontier settlers. These humans moved with disciplined motion. They greeted the colony with nods and firm salutes. Their leader approached Tom. The commander stood tall with a calm presence. He explained that their people had been exploring remote galaxies long before central governments recognized their existence. In those distant regions, humanity had hardened through constant conflict. They had become lethal to any species threatening their survival. Their reputation echoed across uncharted systems. Tom realized the galaxy feared these humans because they embodied the purest form of determination. Together, they reviewed the state of the colony. The newcomers offered repairs, medical supplies, and shield generators. They shared strategies for fortifying the settlement against future threats. The colony accepted with gratitude. Families emerged from shelters to witness the arrival of their powerful kin. Children stared in awe at the colossal ships standing like metallic mountains. Mira guided them through the medical tents, where advanced technicians worked with seamless coordination. Ben studied new engineering methods shared by the visitors. Raul sparred with their soldiers to test techniques. Every moment strengthened bonds between frontier settlers and deep space wanderers. That evening, a gathering formed around the central square. Survivors shared food with their saviors. Laughter emerged between conversations as the tension of the battle slowly released. Tom spoke with the commander about the wider galaxy. He learned that countless species had risen and fallen across distant sectors. Humanity had survived by staying unpredictable, resilient, and fiercely protective of its own. The commander told Tom that humans were not the strongest physically, nor the fastest mentally, but they were the most relentless. No species surpassed humans in refusing defeat. That trait had earned them both fear and respect. When night settled again, Commander informed Tom that their fleet could not remain for long. They maintained patrol routes across many isolated colonies. Their duty required constant movement. Before departure, they installed new defensive grids around the settlement. They left communication beacons that could summon them again. The commander placed a hand on Tom's shoulder and said that isolated humans were never truly alone. Deep space humans monitored the outer reaches. Their response might not come quickly every time, but it would come. No human colony would face extinction without them. The next day, the advanced fleet ascended skyward. Engines roared through the atmosphere. Light shimmered across their hulls as they vanished into the upper void. The colony watched them go with pride. Tom stood at the forefront with Mira, Ben, and Raul by his side. They knew the galaxy held dangers beyond imagination. Yet they also knew humanity was far larger and stronger than any central authority acknowledged. The frontier colony had seen living proof. No allies had answered their call, but humanity had. Not the familiar branches of their species, but the most lethal ones forged in distant stars. Their arrival had reshaped every belief held within the settlement. In the weeks that followed, the colony rebuilt with renewed resolve. Defensive grids powered by advanced tech protected the perimeter. Training regimens improved under guidance left by the visiting fleet. Children practiced drills with confidence that their future was shielded by the vast human presence across the galaxy. Myra expanded the medical center. Ben stabilized the power network. Ral trained young recruits. Tom oversaw the creation of a new council dedicated to unity and readiness. The colony thrived with purpose. Word spread to neighboring settlements that humanity had defenders hidden in the farthest reaches. Hope grew. Months passed, and the memory of the battle remained a reminder of courage. The colony flourished. Travelers visited to learn from their experience. Tom maintained contact with distant beacons left by the advanced fleet. He knew they watched from afar. He knew they would stand ready. Humanity would never collapse under fear while such warriors existed. Every colony, every vessel, every settlement would carry the story forward. No allies had answered. A true kin had. The most lethal species in the galaxy had emerged not as conquerors, but as guardians. Humanity had saved itself, and for the first time in generations, the frontier felt truly united.